Competency 1 is identify as a professional social worker and conduct oneself accordingly. This includes advocating for client access to services, practicing personal reflection, dressing professionally, communicating professionally, and using supervision and consultation. So for this competency, I've attached a picture of what I would typically wear to my field placement, and I've also attached a training manual that was given to me, which I read over at the beginning, and it just had Regency hospice guidelines that volunteers/interns typically abide by. Competency 2 is apply social work ethical principles to guide professional practice, which includes managing personal values so that it allows professional values to guide practice, and things like adhering to the Code of Ethics. So for this competency, I've attached part of the NASW Code of Ethics because it's something that I really use throughout my whole field experience. I used it as a reference when I came across a conflict or I just needed to be guided. And those 6 core values really helped me when working directly with clients, and I just tried to keep those in mind. Competency 3 is apply critical thinking to inform and communicate professional judgments. Within this competency is documentation, which was a big part of my field placement, so I've attached a picture of part of a documentation note, and it just kind of helped to apply social work terms that we use after every patient visit that we had to turn into our field instructor. Competency 4 is engage diversity and difference in practice, which includes recognizing how culture may play a role in privilege and power. It also deals with gaining self-awareness to eliminate the influence of personal biases, especially when working with diverse groups. This competency directly related to the social work course 331 that I took last year that kind of dealt with oppression, privilege, power, and diversity, how they all interrelate. And it just kind of helped me when I was working with clients because we do have very diverse clients. And I also kept a self-reflection journal, which I found myself going back to and using as a guide when dealing with those biases as well. Competency 5 is advance human rights and social and economic justice. This includes understanding the forms and mechanisms of oppression and discrimination. It also includes advocating for human rights and social and economic justice, and engaging in practices that advance those social justices and economic justices. A lot of our clients rely on Medicare or Medicaid to help pay for the services if they're not paying out of pocket. So going through and looking at the different services that are included under each of those really helped me advocate for my clients and make sure that they're receiving the best care possible that they can under those services. And just staying up to date on any changes under those programs helped a lot. Competency 6 is engaged in research-informed practice and practice-informed research. This competency requires using research evidence to help with intervention techniques or any different techniques that may be applicable to clients. And this I found helpful to kind of consult with my field instructor and see which ones are best suited for them. And this included a lot of research on scholarly journals or anything I found that would help me in those intervention techniques. Competency 7 is apply knowledge of human behavior about the social environment, which also includes critiquing and applying knowledge to understand the person in the environment. For this competency, I found it useful to use the different theories that we learned about in the HIPC classes, particularly the systems theory, because when I was working with clients, I would not just work with them, I would work with the client system, which included their caregivers. And referring to this theory just kind of helped me better understand the person and the environment and getting to know the client and their client system. Competency 8 is engage in policy practice to advance social and economic well-being and to deliver social work services, which also includes collaborating with colleagues and clients for effective policy action. So for this competency, it was extremely useful to have taken a social policy class last year because it made me aware of different policies that may have an effect on the clients that I work with. Specifically at my field placement, I also asked the different facilities that Regency was affiliated with about their policies to ensure that the clients were receiving the best care possible to them. Competency 9 is respond to contexts that shape practice. So for this competency, I attached a picture that I took at an Alzheimer's walk that Regency Hospice was a part of, and it shows how advocacy can play a major role in the quality of services received. I also found it useful to stay up to date on the emerging trends that relate to services provided, because this can really have an effect on the services that your clients receive. Competency 10 is engage, assess, intervene, and evaluate with individuals, families, groups, organizations, and communities. This competency does have four major parts, which I will go into detail more later on. So my field instructor and I would meet with clients for the initial visit, and then my field instructor would take me through the initial assessment that she does for each and every client, which is a set of questions that directly relates to them and their system. And then I would go through and document on each and every client that I would see. And I would also get to evaluate in terms of their plan of care and make sure that all the services are abiding by that.